My nouveau riche dad just gave me an ultimatum. I have exactly 1 month to develop an quote-unquote aristocratic vibe. So, I became the disciple of some high society socialite, learning how to sip instant coffee like it's a bottle of Chateau Lafite every single day. Just when I thought I finally had my foot in the door of high society, a real billionaire heiress rolled past us on a rented city bike. She took one look at my mentor's rented luxury car and knockoff designer bags, and just burst out laughing. Did your family go bankrupt or something? Why on earth are you hanging out with a fake rich gold digger? I just stood there, staring at the high tea set I was holding. The one we split the bill for with 69 other people. I was absolutely speechless. You have 1 month. If you can't build up some aristocratic class by then, I'm taking back that 500 square meter penthouse. My dad slammed his glass down hard on our rare rosewood table. A glass filled with an $80,000 bottle of red wine, mixed with Sprite. I stared at that weird, bubbling purple liquid, and gulped. Dad, this whole class thing. It kind of depends on natural talent, right? I don't care. Look at yourself right now. You're wearing a mink coat with flip-flops. You walk outside and people think we're peddling seafood on the street. Our family runs a multi-billion-dollar mining empire now. You need to have some sophistication. I let out a heavy sigh. Honestly, I want to be sophisticated too, but we only struck it rich 3 years ago. 3 years ago, my ultimate dream in life was just having the financial freedom to buy whatever jelly I wanted at the supermarket. Without my mom glaring at me. But then, right when I turned 18, my dad's mining business suddenly blew up. In just 3 years, we got the mansions, we got the luxury cars. We even replaced the toilets in our house with solid gold ones. They literally sing to you when you sit on them. The only thing that hasn't changed is the absolute nouveau riche stench on both me and my dad. Like, my dad goes out for a business meeting, and they serve him some fancy red wine. He asks, how much for a bottle of this stuff? They tell him 80,000. My dad immediately dumps a whole glass of Sprite right into it, complaining, 80 grand and it's still this bitter? Knockoff Sprite tastes better than this garbage. Ever since that day, my dad was deeply triggered. He figured, sure, he might be uncultured, but his son couldn't keep being this tacky. So, he gave me a strict ultimatum. 1 month, I had to learn so-called high society etiquette. How to dress, how to drink, how to socialize, how to appreciate art, how to speak. Basically, I needed to walk out the door and instantly make people think. Now that is a young man raised with old money. I asked him, what if I can't learn it? That's when my dad threatened me with the penthouse. My face instantly went dead serious. Dad, I think a person's aura and class are genuinely crucial. To save my massive penthouse, I decided to hire a coach. I didn't know anyone in the actual upper class, so I went with a completely on-brand strategy for my brain. I googled, how to tell if a girl comes from a crazy rich family. The answers were all over the place. Stuff like they never show off their wealth. They dress low-key, they speak with tact, they order food without looking at the prices. I read all that and thought it was way too abstract. Until I stumbled across this girl named Li Shiya, over on her social media feed. It was fine French dining today, luxury yachts tomorrow, Porsches the next day, the Peninsula Hotel the day after that. Every picture was packed with either Hermes or Chanel. In short, her entire vibe screamed, I am ridiculously expensive. I immediately drove my Bentley straight to her building to intercept her. You teach me how to be high class? Li Shiya froze. Wait, what? A month? How much? Li Shiya stared at my Bentley parked downstairs. Her eyes completely lighting up. 30,000. Deal. It was probably Li Shiya's first time meeting a client as gullible as me. She literally couldn't stop grinning. For the next half a month, my life went completely off the rails. Li Shiya taught me that you can't just down your coffee, you have to swirl it slowly. I stared at the dark liquid in my cup. This is instant coffee. It's about the vibe. Li Shiya held her cup, pinky finger sticking out at a totally bizarre angle. She taught me that you hardly eat anything at afternoon tea. I stared at the 3 tiny, fingernail-sized macarons on the table. Who is this even gonna feed? Real socialites don't come here to get full. Then what do they come here for? To take pictures. For the first time in my life, I felt a deep, genuine pity for high society. You have all that money, and you can't even eat a full meal? That is just sad. Every day, I followed her in and out of fancy spots. I had to walk with my stomach sucked in and my chest puffed out. I had to speak in this soft, whispery voice. Hell, even when I smiled, I was only allowed to show exactly 8 teeth. I felt like a damn puppet on strings, but I didn't dare fight back. Because my dad was still holding the deed to my luxury penthouse. Until one day, I just couldn't take it anymore. Miss Li, can we please do something real? Like, take me to see how actual socialites live? Li Shiya gave me this mysterious little smile. Tomorrow afternoon, I'll show you a whole new world. I thought I was finally stepping up to the big leagues. Little did I know, I was about to walk into an absolute circus of magical realism. The next afternoon, Li Shiya took me to a 5-star hotel, to the afternoon tea lounge right by the street. He told me this was a top-tier socialite gathering. I walked in, so excited. But the second I pushed that door open, I was totally speechless. 69 people, all crammed into one tiny private room. There was exactly one afternoon tea set on the table. The luxury car keys? Rented. Everyone was taking turns putting them on the table for photos. The room was rented by the hour. They were even taking turns wearing the same designer dress. I looked at the single macaron on the table, sliced into a million little slivers. By the time it was my turn, there was only a crumb left on the plate, literally the size of a fingernail. Could you guys slice this any thinner? I was holding this pathetic little crumb, my hand literally shaking. Li Shiya shot me a dirty look. So what? Any smaller and it's basically dust. You can't even tell in the pictures anyway. She seamlessly dropped into this lazy, elegant pose, barking orders at the girl next to her to get the right angle. Yeah, right there. Make sure you get the Hermes logo in the shot. I just sat there by the window, feeling like a clueless lamb stumbling into a den of wolves. Right at that moment, a crisp little bike bell rang out from the window. A bright yellow shared bike pulled up right at the entrance of the hotel. Liu Ruyan pulled off her sunglasses, plain white tee, basic jeans and some beat-up canvas sneakers. Slung over her shoulder was a faded, washed-out tote bag. She locked her bike, and just swaggered right through the doors. Li Shiya took one look, looking completely disgusted. How does just anyone get into a place like this? What the hell is security even doing? But I just froze in shock, because I recognized Liu Ruyan. Our families had met a few times when we were kids. I always knew the Liu family was rich, but I never knew exactly how loaded they were. Liu Ruyan spotted me too. She walked straight over to me. She took a look at Li Shiya, then glanced at the macaron chopped into tiny crumbs on the table. Finally, she looked at me. Did your family go bankrupt? I shook my head. No. Then how did you end up looking so pathetic? Hanging out with a fake rich gold digger like this? Li Shiya's face darkened, and she suddenly jumped to her feet. What the hell do you mean? Who are you calling a gold digger? Liu Ruyan looked her up and down, her eyes sweeping over her bag. A cheap knockoff. Then she glanced at her watch. Fake. Looking at the shoes. Definitely rented. Li Shiya started panicking, her face flushed completely red. How dare you spit such toxic lies? You're just a broke loser riding a shared city bike. What do you know about haute couture? Liu Ruyan just smiled. She pointed at a Porsche parked right outside the window. I recognize that car. It belongs to old Joe's rental shop down in South City. Last month when I was backing up, I accidentally smashed its left rearview mirror. Look, there is still a visible scratch on it that hasn't been painted over yet. The entire private room instantly fell dead silent. Every single socialite froze, stopping their photo shoots. I slowly turned my head to look at Li Shiya. Li Shiya was completely frozen in place, her lips trembling uncontrollably. You're lying. I stood up and brushed off my clothes. Refund my money. Li Shiya completely panicked. Mr. Shi, please, listen to my explanation. There is a perfectly good reason for all this. Refund my money. I repeated it once more, my tone leaving zero room for argument. Liu Ruyan looked at me and raised an eyebrow. Let's go, young master. I'll take you out to eat some actual human food. I followed Liu Ruyan right out of the hotel. Breathing in the fresh air outside, I felt like I had finally come back to life. I looked back at that glittering, luxurious hotel. It turns out the so-called aristocratic vibe was just a bunch of broke losers getting together to play rich. If my dad knew I spent $30,000 to learn this crap, he would absolutely break my legs. Liu Ruyan hopped onto a shared city bike. What are you just standing there for? Scan the QR code. I pulled out my phone and scanned a bike. Where are we going? Right across the street, to eat some fried street sausages. I looked at her delicate, beautiful face, and suddenly I felt like, this woman was way more interesting than those fake socialites. Half an hour later, I was squatting right by the curb, questioning my entire existence. Liu Ruyan sat right next to me. The two of us, each holding a cheap fried sausage, munching away until our mouths were completely covered in grease. I had studied for half a month. I took a bite of my sausage, feeling totally annoyed. Liu Ruyan shot me a glance. I can tell. Please, you're clenching your cheeks every time you take a step. My face darkened, and I almost choked on my food. Not too far away, Li Shiya and her crew were still fighting over the best angles to take photos with the Porsche. One girl was already pulling someone else's hair just because she got two fewer pictures. Liu Ruyan watched them for a while, then suddenly stopped eating. What is it? I asked, following her gaze. Did you notice something? Liu Ruyan kept her eyes glued to the group. She looked thoughtful. Notice what? It's not that they don't have spending power. I frowned. They're splitting the bill just to eat macaron crumbs, and you're saying they have money? Liu Ruyan shook her head. No, they just can't afford to buy the whole thing outright. But they are more than happy to pay for a 2-hour experience. I turned my head back, looking at those girls frantically snapping photos. Liu Ruyan was getting more and more fired up. People rent luxury cars. People rent designer dresses. They split the cost for 5-star hotels. They split the bill for high-end afternoon tea. They even pool money for a photographer. But right now, all of this is done through sketchy WeChat groups. It's full of scammers, and people flake at the last minute. The pricing is a total mess, and the venues aren't even legit. I slowly sat up straight, a light bulb going off in my head. What if someone integrated all these resources? Build a single platform. Exactly. Liu Ruyan's eyes lit up. Users just place an order directly. You want to shoot a crazy rich heir vibe? Pick the package. You want the business elite look? Pick that package. The luxury car, the venue, the outfits, and the photographer. All sorted out in one go. I slapped my thigh hard. Holy shit, isn't this the ultimate form of the sharing economy? Liu Ruyan looked at me in disgust. Watch your mouth. He locked eyes for 3 seconds, then stood up at the exact same time. Are we doing this? I asked her. What should we call it? Liu Ruyan thought for a second. Split the flex. Nice and tacky. Well, your family literally makes a living off tacky, right? I was completely speechless. And just like that, our startup was born. Liu Ruyan was the brains of the operation. And I was the one making things happen. She pulled 3 all-nighters. Writing a 12-page business plan. I got to page 3 and just shut it. Way too long. Liu Ruyan glared at me. Do you even finish reading it? Nope. Then how can you say it's too long? I picked up a marker. And wrote 1 sentence on the whiteboard. Can't afford it? But you can pay to experience it. See? Done. Liu Ruyan stared at the sentence on the board and stayed silent for 2 seconds. It's super tacky, but it's definitely easier to understand than mine. I raised my eyebrows smugly. That's what you call pure business talent. Liu Ruyan just let out a cold laugh. That's what you call having a low education level, so you know the clients can't understand long sentences. I decided not to argue with her. The 1-month deadline was fast approaching. My dad even called me up specifically to ask, how's that aristocratic vibe coming along? I looked at the desk completely covered in contracts and proposals. The company was insanely busy. Let's talk after I'm done with all this. There were a few seconds of silence on the other end of the line. You seriously running a company? Yeah, really. For once, my dad didn't push it. Alright, business first. I'll keep the house waiting for you. I breathed a sigh of relief. The luxury penthouse was safe. I was the one running around negotiating with the first batch of partner businesses. Everyone else was asking for a minimum 20% cut for the venue. I just held up one finger. No way. The boss slammed the table. Then we're out. I turned right around to leave. 15, 9, 950. It was the first time Liu Ruyan had ever seen someone negotiate a business deal like they were haggling for groceries at a wet market. But in the end, I actually closed the deal. She slowly started to realize that even though I looked like some rich idiot, I was incredibly sharp when it came to costs, pricing, and consumer psychology. And I gradually figured out too, that Liu Ruyan wasn't just relying on her family's money. She genuinely understood operations, products, and consumer habits. The two of us were an absolute match made in heaven. Right when we were getting ready to go big, trouble came knocking at our door. That trouble was brought in by Li Shiya, and she didn't come alone. Following right behind her was a fierce, heavy-set guy. Chen Ze. Chen Ze was the biggest shady broker in the south side of town, specializing in the gray market of fake socialite group buys. Young Master Shi, word is you're setting up some kind of platform. Chen Ze sprawled out arrogantly on the sofa in my office, sneering. Cutting off a man's cash flow is like killing his parents, you know. I just looked at him, taking a slow, unhurried sip of my tea. What do you want? Hand over the platform. I'll give you 10% of the shares. I laughed. And what if I don't? Chen Ze waved his hand. A few big thugs surrounded me, looking extremely aggressive. Then don't blame me for getting nasty. I sighed. I put down my teacup. Do you guys have some kind of misunderstanding about new money? I snapped my fingers. Instantly, over a dozen bodyguards in black suits rushed in through the door. Every single one of them was assigned to me by my dad. Ex-Special Forces. Chen Ze was completely dumbfounded. The fat on his face twitched. I walked right up to him and patted his cheek. Trying to play gangster with me? Your little operation isn't even worth one of my dad's mines. Get lost. Chen Ze tucked his tail between his legs and ran off with his guys. But Li Shiya didn't leave. She dropped to her knees with a loud thud, tears flowing instantly. Young Master Shi, Boss Liu, I was wrong. It was all Chen Ze. He forced me. He's my cousin. I didn't dare disobey him. I'll refund that $30,000 to you. Please, just let me off the hook. I watched her crying her eyes out. I don't need your $30,000. Li Shiya froze. Then, what do you want? I want you to come work for my company. Liu Ruyan let out a cough next to me. I quickly added, you know what kind of photos these people want to take. You know exactly how to make a shoot look totally authentic, even though you're a complete fake yourself. Li Shiya's eyes went wide. Liu Ruyan walked over. She looked down at her. 6,000 base salary. Commission is extra. Full benefits included. Li Shiya instantly wiped her tears and stood up. Boss Liu, when do I start? And just like that, the former elite etiquette coach became Pin Ji Yifu's very first user operations manager. The company was just getting off the ground. We were short-staffed, so on top of managing content, she also juggled customer and vendor relations. Her job included teaching clients how to pose for photos, figuring out camera angles, and putting together outfits. She also had to track orders and handle customer feedback, as well as quality checking the merchandise. One day, our buyer brought in a bag. I asked what she thought. Li Shiya took one look at it. No good. Why not? It's too new. What's wrong with new? Something a truly rich person carries around every day wouldn't look like it just came straight out of the wrapper. Liu Ruyan went quiet for a second. Makes sense. I stared at Li Shiya. How do you even know this stuff? Li Shiya tilted her chin up. I've been faking it for 6 years. Professional. The office erupted in laughter, and the vibe was great. But I didn't notice that the moment Li Shiya turned around. A cold smirk crept across her face. She walked into the restroom, locked the door, pulled out her phone, and sent a message. Cousin, I'm in. I've successfully infiltrated their ranks. I have access to all the core data for their platform. Once I figure out exactly how they operate, we'll pull the rug right out from under them. Shi Hao, Liu Ruyan, you guys actually dared to humiliate me. I'm going to make you lose absolutely everything. The pale glow of the phone screen reflected on Li Shiya's face, making her look incredibly sinister. A conspiracy against Pin Ge Fu was quietly brewing in the shadows. Meanwhile, Liu Ruyan and I, completely oblivious, were still riding the high of our new startup. In those early days, Liu Ruyan and I pulled all-nighters every single day. One time at 2 a.m., she was still tweaking the website. I stepped out for a bit, and when I came back, I tossed a box of fried noodles on her desk. I don't eat late-night snacks, Liu Ruyan said, without even looking up. Oh, I opened it myself, and started eating happily. The smell of the food filled the whole office. Liu Ruyan lasted exactly 3 minutes. Give me a bite. I handed her the chopsticks. 10 minutes later, I stared at the completely empty box. That was one hell of a bite. Liu Ruyan wiped her mouth. I'll buy you another one tomorrow. Since then, everyone in the company slowly started to notice that the two of us were acting more and more like a family. The water I hadn't finished, Liu Ruyan would just grab and drink. If she forgot her phone charger, she'd just dig straight through my bag for it. Halfway through a meeting, I'd ask, "Where are my keys?" And without even looking up, she'd say, "In my bag." Li Shiya would look at us with this super conflicted expression and ask, "Which one of you is actually the boss?" And we'd both say at the exact same time, "Me." During this whole time, Li Shiya had been acting super proactive. She helped us refine our photography packages, and even brought in a few influencers to promote us. On the very first day our fake rich app went live, we hit hundreds of orders. By the second day, it was in the thousands. Short-form video platforms were absolutely flooded with posts like, "Experience a day as a billionaire heiress for just $399. The revenue in our company account was doubling non-stop. Then, I noticed some weird data anomalies in the backend system. Some of our highest-paying VIP orders were just getting cancelled for no reason. I looked into it for days, but couldn't find the issue. Until one night, I went back to the office to grab something, and walked past Li Shiya's desk. Her computer was still on. The screen showed an encrypted chat window, with a message right there from Chen Ze. "Great job. Keep funneling these VIP clients over to me, and you'll get a massive cut." I let out a cold laugh. So this was their little game. I didn't want to alert them, so I just quietly backed away and left. The next day, I pulled Liu Ruyan up to the roof and told her everything. After hearing it all, she wasn't even mad. Actually, she laughed. "If she wants to funnel our clients, let her do it." "What do you mean?" I asked. Liu Ruyan got this wicked look in her eyes. "Chen Ze's pathetic little agency. Do you really think he can handle all these VIPs? Can his venues and services even keep up?" It hit me instantly. "You want him to choke on them?" "Exactly." Liu Ruyan nodded. "We deliberately feed them a list of our most demanding, absolute nightmare clients. We let Li Shiya pass them to Chen Ze. When his service inevitably falls short, his reputation will completely tank. And when that happens, not only will those clients come running back to us, they'll end up doing our PR for free." I looked at Liu Ruyan and couldn't help but give her a thumbs up. "You are absolutely ruthless," I said. She just smacked me playfully with a folder. For the next 2 weeks, we stuck exactly to the plan. Li Shiya thought she was being so sneaky, while Chen Ze was raking in orders hand over fist. He was probably grinning from ear to ear. But a few days later, Chen Ze's company got absolutely blasted with complaints. Fake venues, terrible service. They were even hitting people with hidden fees. The clients tore them apart online. Regulators stepped in almost immediately, and followed the trail to uncover his long history of shady business practices, false advertising, and contract fraud. His company was completely shut down for investigation. When Li Shiya saw the news in the office, her face was deathly pale as I walked right up to her. I slammed a stack of evidence onto the desk. "Director Li, great acting, by the way." Li Shiya's legs instantly gave out. She slumped onto the floor. "Mr. Shi, Ms. Liu, pack your things. Get out," Liu Ruyan said coldly. Li Shiya left in tears. Crisis averted. Liu Ruyan and I shared a look, and gave each other a knowing high five. Group wealth completely blew up. I even started buying up struggling dress boutiques and photography studios. Liu Ruyan still loved riding those shared bikes, but I thought they were way too slow. So, I bought a little electric scooter. The first time I gave her a ride, Liu Ruyan sat on the back, both hands politely gripping the rear rack. "Aren't you scared of falling off? Just drive steady." Very next second, we hit a speed bump. Liu Ruyan slammed right into my back, and instinctively wrapped her arms around my waist. We both went dead silent. The road is bumpy. Liu Ruyan immediately let go. Yeah, later on, she went from gripping the rack, to grabbing my shirt, and eventually, to just hugging my waist. Neither of us ever brought it up. But that feeling, it was like a cat scratching at your heart in the spring, leaving a sweet, tingling itch. But just as things were really heating up between us, an uninvited guest showed up. Wang Teng. Wang Teng wasn't some fake rich kid. He was a genuine trust fund baby. His family did business with the Lias, and he had known Liu Ruyan since they were kids. He had always been trying to win her over. One day, Wang Teng had a flaming red Ferrari delivered straight to our office building. The receptionist shouted from the window, "Ms. Liu, your suitor is here." Liu Ruyan didn't even look up. "Tell him to drive it away." I was sitting right next to her, feeling a little jealous. Why send him away? Liu Ruyan looked up at me. "You want me to take it? It's free, why wouldn't you?" Liu Ruyan just stared at me for a few seconds. Fine, and she actually went downstairs. I played it cool on the outside. But 3 minutes later, I shot up from my seat. The receptionist asked where I was going. "To check out the specs." "But didn't you just say those cars are gas guzzlers?" "I'm studying the competition." I stormed downstairs, fuming. Wang Teng was in a flashy white suit, trying to invite Liu Ruyan to dinner. I just stood right next to them, looking left and right, refusing to leave. Wang Teng frowned. "Can I help you with something?" "Nope." "Then why are you standing here? It's a public space. Can't a guy get some sun?" Liu Ruyan almost burst out laughing. That was the first time I ever felt jealous, but I completely refused to admit it to myself. Wang Teng totally ignored me and kept right on flirting with Liu Ruyan. "Ruyan, I booked us a table at a 3-star Michelin restaurant tonight. Do me the honor?" Liu Ruyan replied coldly. "Sorry, I have to work late tonight." Wang Teng looked a bit awkward, but still tried to play it cool. "Then what about tomorrow?" "I'm busy tomorrow, too." Wang Teng hit a brick wall, and had no choice but to walk away in defeat. Watching the taillights of his Ferrari fade away, I felt pretty damn smug. But guess what? That very night, Liu Ruyan dragged me to that exact same Michelin restaurant. I was wearing flip-flops, and she had on a plain white t-shirt. The waiters couldn't help but stare at us. "Didn't you say you weren't coming?" I asked her. "I said I wasn't coming with him," Liu Ruyan replied, calmly slicing her steak. Those words shut me right up for a moment. My heart felt like it was melting into honey. Halfway through our meal, Liu Ruyan complained the portions were too small, and pulled 2 packets of spicy snail noodles straight out of her canvas tote bag. I was absolutely dumbfounded. "I've been craving these lately." "Then why the hell did you come to a Michelin restaurant?" "Because they have a kitchen." Unbelievably, we actually got the chefs in the back to cook up a whole pot for us. The smell drifted out, and soon the entire dining room was filled with a very bizarre aroma. The guests at the next table couldn't take it anymore and stood up to protest. I took a look, and well, what a coincidence. It was Wang Teng. He even had some heavily made-up woman clinging to his arm. The second Wang Teng saw us, he started making snide remarks. "Have the standards for this place dropped that low? They're just letting any random street dogs in now." I looked right at Wang Teng, and slowly put down my chopsticks. "Your suit looks awfully familiar." Wang Teng scoffed. "What is that supposed to mean?" "This is custom Armani haute couture." I opened up the back end of our luxury rental app, and slid my phone across the table to him. "You just renewed the lease on it yesterday." Wang Teng's face instantly froze. Turns out, Wang Teng's family had recently cut off his personal credit cards. Just to save face, his assistant had secretly rented a limited edition suit from our platform. And making things even more awkward, the commercial building housing this very restaurant happened to be owned by the Liu family. Liu Ruyan wiped her mouth and said casually, "If you really think the standards here are too low, I'll have property management hike up the rent tomorrow." Wang Teng shut right up, and slunk away in absolute disgrace with that woman. After that incident, Wang Teng completely held a grudge against me. Since he hit a wall trying to court Liu Ruyan, he just dragged in his family's investment department. And funded a rival platform ripping off our rental business model. Our $399 package, they offered for $199. Our 50 newcomer coupon, they bumped straight up to a $200 subsidy. After checking out their promo page, Liu Ruyan only said one thing: he isn't trying to run a business. He's just trying to crush you with money. I nodded. "Yeah, I can tell." After Wang Teng had left the restaurant, Liu Ruyan's lips were burning red from the spicy noodles. She naturally picked up my glass of ice water and took a sip. She took a sip, and only then did we realize it was my cup. We both saw it happen. 2 seconds of dead silence. "What?" she asked. Liu Ruyan looked at me provocatively. "That's my drink," I said. Does that gross you out? She asked. A little, I replied. Liu Ruyan took another huge gulp. Well, now it's even grosser. I didn't say anything else, but on the ride back, I rode my scooter noticeably slower than usual. With the wind rushing against my face, I felt my heart beating even faster than the scooter's motor. A few days later, my own romantic luck arrived. The female boss of a partner brand, Vying Ningbing. She had her eyes on me. Vying Ningbing was a super vain, wannabe rich girl. Her family had some money, but she absolutely loved to show off. She asked me out for a private dinner that night. I purposely paced around in front of Liu Ruyan. Just going to talk business, I said. Liu Ruyan kept staring at her computer screen. Oh then, you're really gonna let me go? What's it to me? She scoffed. I grabbed my jacket. I'm leaving then. Go. I walked to the door, my hand just resting on the doorknob. Come back. Liu Ruyan's voice rang out from behind me. I turned around, trying hard to hold back a smirk. What now? I asked as Liu Ruyan walked over. She snatched the files right out of my hand. I'll go talk to her. Why? The way she looks at you isn't professional. What do you mean, not professional? Liu Ruyan looked me dead in the eye. It doesn't look like she just wants to talk business. The office instantly fell dead silent. The receptionist girl buried her head deep behind her monitor. I slowly leaned in close, staring right into her eyes. And what about the way you look at me? Is that professional? Liu Ruyan didn't back down at all. Get lost. I walked away laughing. For the first time, I was absolutely sure that she wasn't completely unaffected by me. This intense push and pull dynamic was even more intoxicating than signing a massive deal. But I completely underestimated Bai Ningbing's obsession. And I underestimated Wang Teng's thirst for revenge. Those two had actually teamed up in secret. Using her status as a business partner, Bai Ningbing placed a massive batch of luxury car rental orders on our platform. Then she repeatedly changed the dates and cancelled orders, intentionally creating chaos in our operations. Meanwhile, Wang Teng had his rival team monitor our every single complaint, just waiting to catch a tiny mistake. So they could blow things way out of proportion. A massive crisis targeting Pin Jie Fu was closing in on us. A few days later, a severe accident actually happened with one of the luxury car rentals. The client was driving recklessly, causing a massive pile-up. Post-accident inspections showed absolutely zero mechanical failures with the car. The liability was supposed to be clear-cut, but Wang Teng seized the opportunity and bought a trending topic online. He forcefully twisted the accident into a platform safety issue. Pin Jie Fu provides faulty vehicles. Heartless platform kills for profit. The hashtag shot straight to the #1 spot. Massive wave of refunds erupted. Partners started pulling out left and right. The company bled a massive amount of cash flow in just a single day. Looking at the cliff-like drop in our back-end data, I felt like the sky was falling. On the very first day of the crisis, my dad called me. Stop messing around with this business, he said. The old man's voice was unusually gentle. Come back, Dad will cover the money you lost. I gripped my phone, looking out at the endless stream of traffic. No need. That was the first time I ever turned him down. That night, I sat alone in the stairwell, smoking. Through the swirling haze, I could practically see the miserable collapse of Pingafu. Then, Liu Ruyan found me. Why are you hiding out here? She asked, thinking about how to tell the team. Tell them what? I sighed. We might have to shut everything down. Liu Ruyan sat down next to me, snatched the cigarette right out of my hand, and crushed it out. If we shut it down, we just start over. I looked at her. The money is gone, I said. I still have some, she replied. Will your dad even let you touch it? Nope. Then what are we supposed to do? Liu Ruyan thought for a second. I'll sell a car. I froze. Which one? Any of them. Her family really has way too many cars. Liu Ruyan nudged my leg gently with her foot. We both sat there laughing in the stairwell for a bit. Then, I suddenly grew quiet, looked right at her, and said, Liu Ruyan. Yeah? Are you really not going to leave? Liu Ruyan looked back at me, her eyes completely clear and unwavering. Why would I leave? We built this company together. Now that things have gone south, there's no way I'm letting you carry the weight all by yourself. In that exact moment, I truly fell for her. Not because she was beautiful, and not because she was rich. It was because when the company was on the absolute brink of death, she was still sitting right here, shouldering it all with me. The very next day, we launched our ultimate counterattack. Liu Ruyan completely overhauled our business model. She realized that burning cash to fight Wang Teng for everyday consumers was pointless. So, we pivoted to B2B. We integrated hotels, photo studios, wedding boutiques, and luxury car rentals straight into our back-end system. We managed their inventory, bookings, customer traffic, payments, and marketing. It hit me almost instantly. So we don't fight Wang Teng for the users. Exactly, let him have them, Liu Ruyan sneered. Every single user he subsidizes is ultimately going to end up spending their money at a physical store. My eyes lit up, and those physical stores are all running on our system. Bingo. And just like that, an absolutely hilarious situation unfolded in the market. Wang Teng was burning $100 just to acquire a single user. Those users would take his subsidies and run straight to Pingafu's partner stores to spend it. Then, those stores would pay Pingefu a service fee. Wang Teng was burning through his cash, while I was raking it in. I checked our backend data every single day, feeling completely amazed. Good old Wang, what a stand-up guy. He's literally funneling money straight into our accounts. When Wang Teng finally caught on, he was so furious he almost popped a blood vessel. He stormed right into our office, pointed a finger right in my face, and screamed, "Shi Hao. If you have any guts, fight me head-on." I just shrugged. I am fighting you head-on. You single-handedly generated 870,000 in revenue for me just yesterday. Thanks a lot, Mr. Wang. Wang Teng trembled with rage and stormed off. Not only was the crisis averted, but our platform actually used this opportunity to completely monopolize the B2B market. We had been grinding for over 6 months. Right at that moment, my dad finally remembered his original plan. He showed up at my penthouse full of expectations, ready to inspect my newly acquired aristocratic aura. In my dad's fantasy, I would be wearing a custom-tailored suit, swirling a glass of red wine, listening to classical music, eating a gourmet dinner, and speaking with pure elegance, composed and graceful. But when the door opened, I was in oversized shorts, and Liu Ruyan was wearing a baggy white tee and sweatpants. The two of us were sitting cross-legged on a Hermes rug, with a massive bowl of braised pig trotters right between us. The TV screen was showing the real-time backend data of our app. My mouth was covered in grease. It's going up, it's going up. Liu Ruyan's eyes lit up. He grabbed my arm. Daily active users just broke 1 million today. We excitedly high-fived. My dad stood at the door, his blood pressure instantly spiking. "Shi Hao." A furious roar echoed through the penthouse. "I told you to learn how to be a damn aristocrat, and you learned how to be a street thug." I was so scared I dropped my pig trotter. "Dad, just listen to me. I can explain." "Explain my ass." My dad took off his shoe, ready to whip me with it. Liu Ruyan calmly wiped her hands, picked up a financial report from the side, and handed it to him. "Uncle, Shi Hao definitely didn't learn any aristocratic manners." My dad glared at me. "You see? I knew it." Liu Ruyan smiled faintly. "However, our company just completed a new round of funding. We are valued at 5 billion. My dad went dead silent. His shoe froze mid-air. Liu Ruyan continued to add, "Also, he and I built this company together." My dad looked at me, then looked at Liu Ruyan, and then looked at the 5 billion valuation on the report. "What is the relationship between you two now?" Liu Ruyan paused for a second. "Partners." My dad let out a very meaningful, "Oh." Finally, he silently put down his shoe and sat on the sofa. He picked up a pig trotter and took a bite. "This aristocrat thing, you don't really have to learn it." I leaned in. "What about the house?" My dad mumbled while chewing on the pig trotter. "It's yours." "Dad, you're the best." "I'm mainly doing this for Ruyan's sake." I was completely speechless. After the company grew bigger, we were invited to a top-tier charity gala. Of course, enemies always cross paths. Vi Ningbing was there too. Seeing that Liu Ruyan was dressed so simply, she purposely walked over and made a catty remark. "Miss Liu, is running a startup so exhausting right now that you can't even afford to buy a decent gown?" I couldn't stand listening to her. Just as I was about to go off on her, Liu Ruyan pressed down on my hand and shook her head. The second round of the auction began. Vi Ningbing had her eye on a piece of jewelry and kept driving up the price. She wanted to show off, so I just walked right in hauling a cheap, red, white, and blue striped woven bag. Unzipped it, stuffed completely full of cash. The whole room went dead silent. Liu Ruyan stared at the bag, her mouth twitching. "Couldn't you have used a briefcase?" "A briefcase costs $800, I said, totally deadpan. The bag was $2. In the end, I won the auction with my bag of cash. Vi Ningbing was so furious her face turned pale. What made it even more awkward was when Liu Ruyan looked at her outfit. "Miss Bai, this haute couture dress of yours, isn't it just a defective, rejected sample from one of my family's brands?" The crowd gasped. Vi Ningbing looked like she wanted the floor to swallow her whole. Then Liu Ruyan delivered the final blow. "Next time you need something, just come to me directly. At least don't let the middlemen rip you off." Vi Ningbing covered her face and ran out. After the banquet ended, Liu Ruyan and I sat on the woven bag waiting for the driver. She was laughing so hard she couldn't even sit up straight. "What made you think of using this to carry money?" "It's sturdy," I patted the bag. "And cheap." Liu Ruyan laughed and leaned right against my shoulder. The night breeze was a bit chilly. The two of us slowly grew quiet. We kept leaning closer and closer. I looked into her bright eyes, my heart pounding like a drum. We were just about to kiss, when suddenly, rip, the woven bag split wide open. Money spilled everywhere. We both looked down at the cash scattered all over the ground. Dead silence. $2. Liu Ruyan said faintly, "I'll buy you a $5 one tomorrow." The romantic mood was completely shattered. But after that night, we both knew. Things between us had changed. A few days later, around 11 at night, we were riding my little e-bike home. Liu Ruyan was sitting on the back. Suddenly, she said, "Wang Teng asked me out to dinner again." My chest tightened, and I said yes. I squeezed the brakes hard, stopping right in our tracks. Liu Ruyan bumped hard into my back. Are you crazy? I turned around and glared right at her. Why the hell did you say yes to him? To eat dinner. Are you that desperate for a meal? The guy is pursuing me, Liu Ruyan said, completely unapologetic. So you're just gonna let him pursue you? What else am I supposed to do? I choked on my words, my face flushing red. You could let someone else pursue you. Like who? I took a deep breath. Liu Ruyan didn't say a word, but the corners of her mouth slowly curled up. Looking just like a smug little fox. Are you trying to pursue me right now? Starting right now. Okay, I froze. What do you mean, okay? Request approved. What are my odds? Liu Ruyan threw her arms around my waist and pressed her face against my back. 100%. I let out a goofy little laugh. And why even bother chasing me? Hey, we still have to go through the proper steps. I twisted the throttle, and the little e-bike immediately shot forward. Liu Ruyan held onto me tighter in a panic. Hey, slow down. I finally have a girlfriend. I yelled into the rushing wind. I was so hyped. Later on, Pinji Fu stopped being just a platform for people to flex online. It gradually evolved into a legit platform for lifestyle experiences and sharing unused resources. Right around that time, Li Shiya came knocking on our door again. She returned every single penny of the commission she had secretly pocketed from poaching our clients back then. She even brought a stack of files she had put together herself. After Chen Ze went down, that whole group of shady vendors had scattered, and a lot of them just changed their names to sneak into other platforms. During that time, Li Shiya had completely mapped out their bootleg supply chains, rental disputes, and all their usual scams. Not asking to get my old position back, she placed the documents on the desk. Just give me a trial period, that's all. I looked over at Liu Ruyan. Liu Ruyan flipped through the files and stayed quiet for a moment. 3 months. You will start with content creation. No access to core order permissions. If you mess up one more time, we won't even need to fire you. Li Shiya nodded vigorously, and honestly, she actually relied on her own skills, her sharp eye for fakes and her deep understanding of users who love to show off, to slowly work her way back up in content operations. As for Wang Teng, he finally realized that keeping up the fight was totally pointless. So, he came running to us to talk about a partnership. Shi Hao, let's just let bygones be bygones. Wang Teng kept his head down. Could you lower the commission cut by 2%? No way. How about 1%? No. 0.5%? Liu Ruyan was walking past and casually dropped a line. $9.50. Wang Teng completely froze. Wait, what? I just laughed. She really learned from the best. In the end, Wang Teng still signed the contract anyway. He might have been grinding his teeth in anger, but in the face of massive profits, he still chose to swallow his pride. Meanwhile, the valuation of Pinji Fu absolutely skyrocketed. It smashed right through the 10 billion mark. As for me and Liu Ruyan, we finally put our wedding on the agenda. Originally, both of our families wanted to throw this massive wedding of the century. We're talking top-tier luxury hotels, private jets, a whole fleet of luxury cars, and a world-class international wedding planning team. The budget alone was hundreds of millions. My dad even wanted to rent out an entire private island. After looking through that massive stack of proposals, Liu Ruyan just asked one single question. Is all this really necessary? I shook my head. Not at all. And so, the two of us rewrote the whole plan ourselves. For the bridal escort fleet, we scrapped the Rolls Royces and swapped them for a whole lineup of Wuling Hong Wong minivans. As for the wedding banquet menu, we crossed out the abalone and sea cucumber. We replaced them with street-style sausages, barbecue, and spicy snail noodles. But of course, the ingredients were all absolutely top tier. I mean, we're talking about street sausages made out of pure Australian Wagyu beef. Grilled skewers made with deep-sea shrimp, but they still turned out looking exactly like cheap street food. On the day of the wedding, Li Shiya was running the show as the on-site coordinator. She's actually the company's content director now, sprinting all over the venue with a walkie-talkie, looking every bit the fierce boss lady. Wang Teng showed up too. I walked right up to him on purpose and asked, "Hey, Mr. Wang, is this suit actually yours today?" Wang Teng's face instantly darkened. I bought it. The wedding officially began. There I was, wearing a custom haute couture suit, but rocking a pair of flip-flops on my feet. Liu Ruyan, wearing her gorgeous wedding dress, walked toward me, looking absolutely breathtaking. I stared at her, and whispered, "How much was your dress?" "Rented." "How much?" $800. I frowned. "Can we get the deposit back?" Liu Ruyan shot me a death glare. "Shi Hao, what? We are getting married today." "And?" "Shut up." I smiled and took her hand. While we were exchanging rings, I suddenly asked her, "Why did you ride a shared bike that day?" Liu Ruyan looked right at me. "Traffic was bad. It's that simple. What did you expect?" I fell silent. So that was the start of everything. There was no grand destiny. No crazy rich Asian script. Just a real heiress who got annoyed by traffic, hopped on a rental bike, and just happened to see the idiot son of a newly rich family sitting in a fancy hotel, splitting a single macaron with 68 other people. Liu Ruyan beamed, her smile radiant. And what if I hadn't ridden by? I looked at her, dead serious. then by now, I'd probably be swishing instant coffee like a fine wine just to make it look classy. Liu Ruyan burst out laughing, doubling over. I couldn't help but laugh too. I leaned down and kissed her. Meanwhile, down in the audience, my dad was watching me, letting out a long, heavy sigh. All these months, and he hasn't picked up a single ounce of class. Ruyan's dad, holding his wine glass, chimed in. I think it's great. My dad looked at him, totally confused. What's great about it? Well, at least he managed to hustle you a daughter-in-law out of it. My dad thought about it for a second, then nodded solemnly. You know, fair point. In the distance, Liu Ruyan was already chasing me around to beat me up, all because I just asked if we could bag up the leftover cheap sausages from the buffet. My dad watched us for a bit, then muttered. Still pretty embarrassing, though. Ruyan's dad burst into roaring laughter. You'll get used to it. After the wedding wrapped up, we didn't jet off on a honeymoon. Instead, we headed straight back to the office. Because the big Double 11 mega sale was right around the corner, and we had a million platform promos to monitor. When the staff saw us marching into the office in a full wedding dress and a tailored suit, their jaws hit the floor. Boss, what are you guys? I just waved my hand dramatically. Tonight, the entire tab is on Mr. Shi, and you're all getting triple overtime pay. The office completely erupted in cheers. Liu Ruyan kicked off her heels and slipped into her canvas sneakers. She booted up her computer with practiced ease. Watching her focused profile, an indescribable sense of satisfaction washed over me. The real thrill was never about me showing off how awesome I was while she just watched from the sidelines. It was that she charted the course, and I paved the road to get us there. Without either one of us, this company simply wouldn't exist. And in the end, our romance wasn't some cliché story of a billionaire heiress falling for a nouveau riche kid. It was two people who never lacked money in the first place, teaming up to build something that truly belonged to us. And hey, we just happened to fall in love along the way. Late into the night, it was just the two of us left in the office. I walked over with 2 fresh cups of instant coffee. Boss Liu, have some coffee to perk up. Liu Ruyan took the cup, and, playfully mimicking how Li Shiya used to act, she stuck out her pinky finger. You can't just chug coffee, you have to swirl it, slowly. I played along, giving my cup a little swirl. It's all about the vibe. We looked at each other and shared a smile. Outside the window, city's neon lights flickered. Our story was just getting started.